Well, this rather is a project that we have just now have finished for a museum of Grand Tournu, which is a museum which is located between Lille in France and Brussels. And it's a museum which is an ancient industry where they produced some small bricks, and they've done a museum in there. And we were invited by the museum because they saw our projects in Fabrica, and they have asked us to go there and do an exhibition of our products. Well, Fabrica is a research center, and we always try to do projects that open up some doors on the future. My idea has been that of thinking how we can reinvent a process in the exhibition, and therefore it's always the same exact thing. Usually, the curator comes to your house, basically your firm, and puts them together the way he wants and pleases, and he goes on. Rather, as designers here, we need to give it further service because a designer has to respond to different matters, finding a solution to issues. Therefore, if you're working for a museum, you need to find a way of creating some things to display, right? A museum is for display. And obviously, we're not going to design some white cubes because obviously other people can do that. They do it since 40 years. But I've thought that rather than having someone come from the museum and come to Fabrica, we have to go to the museum and design some more correctly and adequate display elements. So this meeting between Decoratifs, a staff of international young designers, with a staff of the museum, which works with some very fixed timetables, and they have some fixed habits since 40 years, we need to find a meeting point. Well, this meeting point was that of asking every single person of the museum, the one who works as a doorman, all the way to the technical service, the education, administration, the directors, and so on, all these people, well, a very single question, which was this: what is your favorite object? So the matter was, what is your favorite object? And from what everyone said, we designed some objects. They have basically told us a specific object, then I asked them exactly why it was their favorite object. They told us why, the reasons of that choice, and we've realized that for such a very simple question, they tell you half of their life. An object could be very simple, very complex, but basically there's a lot of empathy among these objects, a lot of emotions, and a lot of personal feelings. And you realize the strength of design and how a design museum really works with an idea of asking people, how do you think an object of design should be and how powerful should this be? Well, from all those answers, we have used some small elements that could actually create an object which symbolizes all their past memories on these objects. And the furniture we have done allow to present or represent the experience of these objects. Um, this this thing here is a train because there's a girl who tells you about a train, and for her the train is the best way and the easiest way to go to the countryside, but without having a direct relationship with nature because she's a bit afraid of nature. She's a very urban, very city person, and after 1 hour out in the fields, she has an allergy, basically, reaction. And therefore, after a trip in a train, she thinks it's very pleasant and something that you can travel, an emotion, but it's always protecting you from the environment. So You're protected by the windows, so you have a contact with the not physical one. We have designed 15 different pieces of furniture, and each and every one would tell you the backgrounds behind these objects, in the sense that we put these objects. Our work was just that, of telling the stories of these people and putting together that the role of design is also that of not always fixing things and putting them on just a simple table. Sometimes it's much better, rather than designing a table, than actually designing the object that goes on the table. Therefore, one of the objects that I appreciate the most is this piece of furniture right here. Whoa, it doesn't work. How does this thing work? Stefano. Bye. The one in the middle. Tell him. Oh. Well, this is a way of presenting the photo album, because the person who talked about this, he's a carpenter of the museum. He's a man, basically, who just designed some white cubes and some like partitions, working there in the museum to create the various displays. Well, he said, when he said a photo album, he loves to play soccer. He has been a famous soccer player, or at least he was a professional soccer player, and every weekend he trains small kids, and he's like a coach, a soccer coach. And the photo album is actually representing everything that he's done in his life. He working a lot. Not working, being so passionate with soccer, he forgot that he has three daughters. He forgot that he had to follow their growth. And when someone has, he has a porno calendar just behind a porno calendar just in his office, like in his workshop, and he says it's something super, and he tells you something so intimate that he forgot about his daughters, and he's there almost crying. It's like incredible. I feel like, oh my God, and he tells you something super intimate, and probably he never told anyone this thing, and therefore, just to give and create a true celebration to his, I don't know, pride, and he just, in front of us, we're just people who he doesn't even know well, and tells us all these very intimate thoughts. And so you can put your album of pictures there, and you can hide them, because his photo album is usually always on a bookshelf right here. And every week, he and his wife open up the photo album to take a look, and she tells him the things that he did not live with his daughters. It's a wonderful love story. She grew the kids, and now he's telling him, well, this is what happened then, and you weren't there, but this and this happened. And there is also this backside of the piece of furniture, that when you are putting all your clothing, and put on some gym clothing, and then there's a small little bench, like these, just like the benches of a gym. And therefore, basically, we're putting together the two ideas, creating some hybrids. Relationship between all these stories. They have some opposites, some juxtapositions. They have some very nice info that they're giving you, and some very strong and maybe more sad. And we're trying to create a piece of furniture that puts together these two things, like the sports that this man really loved and his photo album. So it has the library side and the more sports side that looks more like a locker room and changing room, like the bench, and more reminds us of a soccer like changing room. So there are 15 pieces of furniture. Each and every one is speaking about an object and telling the story beyond the personality and the person who chose and talked about it. This is a collection that we've designed for this art gallery in Rome called Secondo Me. It's a publisher as well. It's not only gallery, but it's also a publisher. Well, we take a shape of the dome it's to protect ancient objects or to, I don't know, to grow legumes in the garden or to put antique objects or things like that. It's like this dome right here. Each a person of the equipe of Fabrica would use this shape, pretty pure. The briefing was that of adding a piece to it, which creates a narration. Well, this was done by an American, half Chinese. The dome, the glass dome, makes him go around with a bicycle. Well, this other one played with the fragility of glass. Another girl did this. She put a hole, poked a hole, and then putting this rope, which is a pretty rough material, and the glass is very. It looks like a bell. This other idea, he left air out with a chimney. This other created an animal's head. This looked like a bottle of water, like a big tank. So you can open it up just like as if it's like a big bottle. And then there's this who played on the idea of like a balloon. This is the logo of the collection, and then we've displayed it at the Salone Satellite and in some other places.